everyone, Ben and Ob here. HHN 32 just wrapped up. Time to talk about HHN 33.
Never too early for spec.
First and foremost, let's talk about what houses we think might be on the docket for 2024.
The first house we speculate might come to HHN 33 is Five Nights at Freddy's. It just came out October 27th and it looks awesome.
So good.
This was a house that we thought might come to HHN 32, but we expect a Blumhouse to come back during HHN 33, and Five Nights at Freddy's might just fit the bill.
People have been talking about it all year long, and the trailer with those giant animatronics looks amazingly scary. I cannot imagine walking through a house and having these huge mascot-like figures that may or may not jump out at you as you go.
It's an old decrepit arcade, so it really fits the aesthetic of an HHN house.
Not to mention, like, what's scarier than like a giant Chuck E. Cheese mouse coming at you with maybe a knife?
Could you imagine?
The next house that people have been talking about and asking about for a while is Stranger Things Season 5. Okay?
Another one. Run it back.
Now, Stranger Things 4 killed it this year. Everybody loved that house. The wait times were astronomically high every single HHN night. Do we think that Stranger Things 5 will show up at HHN 33?
I think it's a possibility.
No, probably not.
I think it's possible. I think Universal might look at and see how popular Stranger Things 4 was and be like, you know what? We can keep people in queues for 90 plus minutes pretty easily. And it's a great way for crowd control.
Now, I agree. Universal will bring Stranger Things back to wrap up the season, but it's not going to come back in 2024. If you do a little bit of Googling, you'll see that right now it doesn't look like the Stranger Things Season 5 will start filming until 2024, which means filming, editing, production, launch. It's not dated to come out until maybe 2025 at the earliest, and we're really looking at a fall or winter timeframe. So I think we can put Stranger Things on the shelf for the year. I would love to see it back, don't get me wrong, but I think we can expect it in a future HHN season. The next house on our list that I think we can expect to see is kind of broad, okay? Hear me out on this one.
It's very broad.
I think we can expect to see some form of a Jenna Ortega house at Universal next year.
She is very popular.
Now, Ben will make sure to put a picture of Jenna Ortega on the screen for those of you who don't know who she is, but Jenna Ortega has been in Scream. She is going to be in Beetlejuice 2. She is Wednesday Addams in Wednesday on Netflix. She is up and coming, and she is in so many scarier type, quotes around scary, scarier type films. That being said, I think we could expect to see some form of either a Wednesday or a Beetlejuice 2 house coming back.
My initial gut reaction is that it will be Beetlejuice 2. It already fits with the Universal aesthetic and kind of builds on their Beetlejuice brand. However, if Universal really wants to keep with that Netflix partnership,
True.
Wednesday really in the Addams family might be the way to go.
Now, that being said, again, a little bit of Googling, Ben.
Of course.
I have done research. And right now, filming for Wednesday, for the second Wednesday season, hasn't started. That writer's strike really has kind of put a pause on so many up and coming pieces on Netflix. And so right now, it doesn't look like we can expect Wednesday to be out and available on Netflix for the second season until after 2024. Beetlejuice 2, though, launches September 6th, 2024 as of filming. That is the date that they've put out there right now. And so I think that is highly likely that we might be able to see a new Beetlejuice house featuring this new movie coming out.
Now, my speculative house, which comes a little later, still does include Jenna Ortega, so...
That's true. That's true.
The next house we're going to talk about...
I want to play a game.
We think that Saw X might come to HHN 33. Halloween Horror Nights has already done a Saw house in the past. Saw X is already out, and it looks absolutely hellacious.
Yes.
It's one that we're really excited to see, and the Saw movies in terms of transforming them into a Halloween Horror Nights house just fits all too well.
Anyone with a pig mask coming at you is 100% frightening. You can argue with me all you want, but I can't think of anything scarier than that.
The sounds, the smells, the pictures, and the scenes that you can make from the Saw movies into a set in a HHN house just takes it over the top.
The Saw X trailer that we've seen so far is absolutely terrifying, and I can't wait to go watch the movie. They've all been great movies, and I've heard in the past, we never got to experience it, but when a Saw house has been made before, I don't know if this was at Universal or not, I'm gonna go with it though, that they have staged scare actors in the queue to be grabbed out of line and pulled into the house by other scare actors. And if that can be done, oh my gosh, somebody needs to be ready because I'm about to have a heart attack going through that house.
How cool would it be though to choose your own adventure in a Saw
Saw?
house? It'd be
To see if you live or die.
To see if you live or die.
Live or die.
Make your choice.
Right? So Saw X, I think,
Yes.
would be an amazing house. Yes, yes.
More yes.
More yes. Universal, please
Make Saw X happen.
make Saw X happen in 2024. We have a couple more houses to talk about, and then we have some other spec that we're excited
Very
for.
excited for.
But this next house, Universal is working on right now as far as a movie is concerned, but there's very little details. So currently, there is an untitled Universal Monster movie in the works set to come out April of 2024. Now, we don't know much about this movie. We don't know which monsters they're focusing on, what the details are, or how the storyline's written, but there are some big name actors and actresses in this movie. Universal has been filming this movie, and it is set to come out soon. Like, April is not that far away.
It's true.
And so when we have more information about what this Untitled Monsters movie is, I will be willing to place bets that we might be able to see this as the unmasked monsters that normally show up at Universal.
I think that's a solid bet because like we've always said in all of our HHN speculations and tips houses that nobody does classic monsters like Universal.
Exactly.
Monsters Legends Collide was an incredible house a couple of years ago.
Yeah.
People have loved the Universal Monsters Unmasked house. There's a ton of great scares in it.
So good.
So I think just the natural continuation of a Universal Monsters house will continue in HHN 33.
And I think it's wise. There's been so many monsters movies over the years, and they've been really focusing on like the OG monsters back in the day, that Universal now needs to put out a fresh version, right? And so here we are, they're making that movie. What better way to just kind of conclude it all but put it in an HHN house? And finally,
My hope and prayer. Hope and prayer.
I think this might be the one house that is like pushing the limits of what we may be able to see.
I'm not gonna lie, I don't think this one will happen, but I want it to. Scream. And at this point, I don't care which Scream movie Universal picks. I would prefer 6 because 6 was awesome. 7 is supposed to come out sometime,
It's a Jenna Ortega house if it does show up.
but 6 would be for sure. But 7's supposed to come out eventually, which would hopefully next year will play for HHN 33. I think it would be super frightening, very similar to the Michael Myers scares in the Halloween house a couple of years ago.
Any Scream house would be frightening.
With like
Any
the
of
statue
Screams.
scares and the mirrors would be terrifying, as well as just Ghostface chasing you through the house. Like he's not moving like Michael Myers. Michael Myers walks.
Yeah,
Ghostface runs
with a knife.
with a knife. He will chase you through this house. Be terrifying.
I think the Scream house could be good, don't get me wrong, but I just don't expect Scream to show up. But that's the beauty of speculation. There is a lot of things that could come, houses to talk about, think about, and see how
Get
it would
the
best
juices flowing.
fit in. So if you're like Ben, I'd be curious to know, 1, would you like to see a Scream house show up to HHN? And 2, do you actually think it could?
The next thing we're going to speculate on are the shows.
This is easy. Nightmare Fuel will be back next year.
That's our bet.
That's our bet. We've gone so far as looking at Nightmare Fuel that Ben's come up with the name that they'll use next year.
Stick with me. We had Nightmare Fuel, the original OG. We had Nightmare Fuel Wildfire last year.
Wildfire.
We had Nightmare Fuel Revenge Dream this year.
They killed the Nightmare Queen.
Exactly. Benji, R.I.P. I'm sorry. We miss you.
And we need to bring you back. Which is why...
Nightmare Fuel Resurrection.
Maybe add fire to the end of that too. Resurrection fire. Who knows?
Who knows?
But Nightmare Fuel Resurrection is what Ben is hoping for in 2024. We're not working for Universal. We do not have an inside scoop. So this is possibly completely wrong. However...
Resurrection. Do you think a water show will come back in HHN 33?
I think we can expect a water show.
I think so too.
Walking around HHN this year was fantastic. Like the scare zones were great. The shows that they had were great. People enjoyed the Megan Hort, but we were definitely missing something on the waterfront. It was dark. It was empty. If you walk through there, I'd be curious because when we did, nobody was around. And I could definitely see us bringing back some form of ghoulish, whether it is ghoulish or something else. The real question in my mind is, will there be drones?
It would be cool. I don't really have much of a speculation, but that would be cool.
I think there's possibility. And if not, the water show, they've been working on that for a long time. I think that they need to bring that back once it's all completely wrapped up and finished, because it's just a great way to spread people out throughout the parks. And if the parks keep getting as busy as they are for HHN, they're gonna need that space. My question to you, we have the last, I'm gonna call it a show, but the last show to cover will be the Death Eaters. They were amazing in Diagon Alley this year, but we also missed them over in Hogsmeade. Will the Death Eaters be back in Diagon, or will they be in Hogsmeade?
My speculation, and this has really almost nothing to do with the actual show itself other than the crowds at HHN 32 and probably the continuation into 33, is I think HHN will continue to gain popularity and those crowds will continue to grow and grow and grow. We saw in 2022, virtually nobody was in Diagon Alley.
Oh, it was so empty that year. Yeah.
But this year, during HHN 32, when the Death Eaters, it was packed.
So busy.
And I think they'll continue to have the Death Eaters in Diagon Alley, if not just to spread the crowds out.
Would it be worth it to have Death Eaters in both Diagon and Hogsmeade? I would love it.
From a logistical perspective, I think it would be a way to appease people going to Islands of Adventure. However, I think people seeing them in Diagon Alley will force them to buy HHN tickets and spend money at Universal for HHN tickets.
Do we need to make a decision right now of which?
They're going to be in Diagon Alley.
I think so too. My heart says I want them in both, but my head says they're going to be in Diagon.
It just makes too much sense for crowd control, because then you can push them into Diagon Alley, and if you have a water show, that's two pretty big groups that you have pulled away from houses and scare zones.
We didn't plan to talk about this, but talking about spreading people out, is the Megan Horde something to stick around?
No.
I don't think so either.
I
think it was kind of a one-time thing. More hordes, or a horde, could be expected possibly, but I don't think it will be Megan theme. And maybe we'll just go back to our Chainsaw Gang.
Yep.
And finally, the last thing we want to touch on for speculation, way too early for HHN 33, who will be our icon next year? You can bet I'm going to ask for Jack.
I don't think it'll be Jack. I think they'll reserve Jack for probably HHN 35.
Ooh, really sticking with those, like, it's not a round number, I don't know what to call it, but
I think they could,
big years, anniversary years, if you will.
I think they could do something along the director if they brought back like Slaughter Cinema or something along those lines to kind of play that movie aspect. I just don't think...
Which goes well with a Scream house and a Beetlejuice 2 house and a Saw house.
And a Saw house.
Ooh, it's coming together, folks.
I just don't see Jack coming back for HHN 33.
I want him back so much. I really do. I hear you out on that, though. I think that no matter what, whoever our icon is, I really enjoyed our Oddfellow story this year that I hope they try to do that again next year. And by that I mean, whoever the icon is, have the scare zones tell a story about that icon's backstory. Yeah. Story for story, I guess. I thought it was super intriguing, super fun to walk to the different scare zones and find that icon within them, that I would love to do that again next year, but with a whole new story, whole new theme, and a whole new scary backstory to be able to dive into.
If you have any speculation, and we're looking at you, Zombie Chris, for HHN 33, let us know in the comments. Let us know your thoughts and opinions. If you got anything out of this video, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. If you feel like supporting the channel further, hit our Patreon link in the description. Thanks for watching.
Bye.